They say that they are dangerous to man, that their power and hunting skills are to be feared. But if so, why do many people who encounter sharks tell a different story? How on earth can one animal be perceived in such contrasting ways? I'm Sarah Richmond, marine scientist, shark researcher and ocean conservationist. I'm fascinated by sharks and the role they play within the world's ecosystem. I'm going to take you on a journey around Australia, showing you some of the most diverse and amazing marine environments our great country has to offer. We'll be meeting shark experts, shark lovers, and coming face to face with lots of Australia's sharks. Join me as I experience the highs and lows of mankind's interactions with these wondrous creatures. Throughout this epic adventure, I will share with you the story of the shark and uncover the frightening truth about their fight for survival. When sharks and humans have an encounter, usually it's just that, an encounter. But there are two words that when joined together can spark panic, fierce debate and gross misunderstanding. Shark attack. The myth that sharks swim around waiting to bite anything that moves is well and truly alive. This is in spite of years of data and research that prove that this is just not the case. Here on the Gold Coast, there's another factor to take into consideration when talking about shark attacks. These beaches have been a part of the Queensland Shark Control Program for over half a century, which means there's a series of nets and baited drum lines scattered along the coast in an aim to prevent large sharks from approaching our beaches. But does the QSCP really work? I wanted to find out more, so let's take a look at the facts. The Gold Coast has 11 shark nets, spanning 24 beaches between Southport in the north and Coolangatta in the south. Each net is 186 metres long and 6 metres deep, and they sit in an average water depth of 12 metres, meaning that they do not create an impenetrable barrier. In total, the Gold Coast shark nets only cover an insignificant 1.79% of the coastline. In addition to the nets, as many as 35 baited drum lines may be in place at any one time, consisting of a buoy, a chain and a baited hook. These attract sharks from the ocean and bring them closer to the beaches and the nets. If the shark takes the bait or gets caught in the nets, it faces a slow, agonising death. Each year, the nets indiscriminately kill thousands of marine species, including turtles, dolphins, rays, dugongs, whales and sharks, many of which are protected, and all are sacrificed in the name of swimmer safety. So it's 6 o'clock in the morning and we're here at Southport. We're about to head out to the shark nets to get a better understanding of what it is that these nets do. It's a beautiful morning on the coast, perfect conditions to go diving. Although I researched lots of facts on the shark nets before this, it's not until you get out here that you realise just how small these nets really are. When I hit the first buoy, I find a very large hole in the net. At first I thought it was damaged. However, there were similar sized holes under each buoy. Are they meant to be there? As I continued along the net, diving under it and through the large holes, it is apparent that these nets are not an impenetrable barrier. I read a statistic that 40% of the sharks caught here are actually caught on the beach side of the nets. I try to imagine how horrible it would be to be trapped and left to drown in these nets. If the only thing shark nets do is give peace of mind, then the loss of marine life is unjustified. I believe I've only begun to scratch the surface on this issue. I'm heading back to dry land to do some more research. One of Australia's protected species that comes under threat from the Queensland Shark Control Program is the great white shark. Over the last decade, 71 great whites have been killed by the program. We have a government that protects great whites, but on the other hand, allows them to be killed in such a cruel way. I'd like to take you on a journey down to South Australia to see these apex predators in their natural environment, to show you the truth about the infamous great white shark. On the way to Port Lincoln, there is one special dive site that I have to check out while I'm in South Australia. We've stopped off in Whyalla, where an incredible natural event happens each year. Between May and August, thousands of Australian giant cuttlefish, which is the world's largest species of cuttlefish, descend on the rocky coastline between Fitzgerald Bay and False Bay. These chameleons of the sea migrate to these waters for the sole purpose of spawning. Along with the great white sharks, this has been something I have always wanted to witness. So let's get in the water and check it out. Cuttlefish are cephalopods and are closely related to squid and octopus. All of these families are regarded as highly intelligent, accomplished hunters, and even sometimes a little playful and inquisitive. Although the water is a bracing 12 degrees, the visibility is a good 15 metres, and it doesn't take long before I spot my first giant cuttlefish. And then it seems like they're absolutely everywhere. But this is more than just a social gathering. It's the most important event in these cuttlefish's lives. This is their one chance to pass their genes on to the next generation. The cuttlefish spend their lives growing strong for this 3-month marathon of courtship, competition, and mating. Males face off against each other in displays of one-upmanship, displaying dark, pulsating bands across their luminescent bodies. The cuttlefish are able to put on these dramatic displays thanks to special cells called chromatophores, enabling them to not only change their colour, but their texture as well. It would seem the large males have the advantage, but smaller males have a few tricks up their sleeves. They can cross-dress, disguising themselves as females to sneak past their larger competitors. And scientists have found that the smaller males are just as, if not more successful than the big boys. Locked in their lover's embrace, the male passes spermatophores to the female, which she then uses to fertilise her eggs. It's sad to know that at the end of the mating season, all these cuttlefish will die. But in a few months, baby cuttlefish will emerge from the eggs to complete the circle of life and return next year to these same waters. After such an incredible experience, I can't wait to see what the Rodney Fox crew have in store for me. It's a short drive from Whyalla to Port Lincoln, where we will board the Princess 2 and head out to sea. So we're here at Neptune Islands. The reason why the great white sharks love this spot so much is because it's home to a colony of Australian sea lions and New Zealand fur seals. The high blubber content of these marine mammals makes them the ideal treat for the great white shark. As the crew ready the cages and start to bait the water, I head up to the top deck to do some shark spotting. So he's just throwing some tuna head in the water to try to attract some great white sharks. And we've got our first one. Just seen our first great white shark for the day. He's looking like he's really ready to take some bait. He's coming quite fast. And we're just opening the cage to let some divers in, so let's hope he comes back. There are 2 sharks now that have come in to take a closer look at the bait. I can't wait any longer. It's time to strap on a harness full of weights and take the plunge. I couldn't be more ready. I slide into the 4-man surface cage and take position. The seas are still rough and the cage is getting smashed around. The first 5 minutes feel like an hour, staring out into the abyss, waiting for that first glimpse. Just like that, a 4-metre male great white shark, Carcharodon carcharius, just cruises past. Everything seems to go silent. I don't feel the cold. I don't notice the thrashing of the cage. I am in absolute and genuine awe. In that moment, I feel comfortable and relaxed, while at the same time, I'm having an adrenaline rush. It is like nothing I have ever experienced before. Excitement quickly turns to interest, and the biologist inside me begins to study the sharks as they cruise by. First, I notice the differences between males and females. Male great white sharks have sexual organs on the outside of their body called claspers. Females grow larger than their male counterparts and have been observed dominating them, taking first place at the dinner table.
That was unreal. We had about 4 sharks circling us and they were huge, and it was, seriously, I could not pick a word to describe how good that was.
Rodney Fox Adventures is one of the only operators in the world that has a bottom cage for divers, so getting to experience this is incredible. The descent down is exciting, and we can see the silhouette of whites below us. The environment goes from barren sand flats to lush seagrass beds, supporting many types of fish, as well as the biggest stingrays I have ever seen. This was a really special moment with the sharks, and I kept thinking back to my research. Estimates put great white shark numbers for the whole planet as low as only 3,500, meaning that they are more endangered than tigers. It is sad to note that over the past 10 years, 71 great whites were killed by the Queensland Shark Control Program. These deaths contradict the protected status of the great white shark in Australia. We get a bottom time of around 30 minutes, and although we are freezing, by the time the cage captain orders our ascent, we wish we could stay down. It just doesn't seem long enough. During time out of the cage, there's plenty to do. Get warm, chat about the experience, review photos and film, and I am lucky enough to get the chance to wrangle a few sharks, which is a lot harder than it looks. I think I'll leave it to the professionals and get back in the water. By special request, I am allowed access to the 1-man cage. Standing in the cage makes me feel like I am on the edge of the world, knowing that it's just going to be me and the great white sharks. I am welcomed by a beautiful 5.4 metre female great white. It is impossible to reiterate the sheer size of this girl. She is not at all afraid of me, nor do I feel threatened by her. The sharks are passing really close to the cage now, close enough for me to get a good look at the eyes, and I can easily make out the pupils and see the shark looking back at me with wonder and curiosity. For the briefest of moments, it feels like there is a connection. In relation to great white shark attacks, what I have witnessed here over the past 2 days undeniably goes against the grain of the mindless killer. If a full-grown great white shark attacked a human at full force, every attack would end in a fatality. The sheer size and power of these animals dictates that. Yet solid evidence shows us that the majority of people actually survive these attacks, with the shark only biting once. Less of an outright attack and more of a curious test bite. But I don't think you can truly comprehend these animals until you have been in the water with them. Since returning from my trip, people have asked me to sum up my great white shark experience, rather than put it into words. As I come to the end of my journey here at Neptune Island, I think about what it means to have realised a childhood dream, to be in the water with a great white shark. There is no doubt in my mind that this experience has changed my life. The great white sharks of Neptune Island have confirmed the direction I want to travel in, to work with and study sharks, and to help people understand them. Sociobiologist E.O. Wilson once said specifically about great white sharks, "We're not just afraid of predators, we're transfixed by them, prone to weave stories and fables and chatter endlessly about them, because fascination creates preparedness, and preparedness survival. In a deeply tribal sense, we love our monsters." Once painted as the most infamous villain of the ocean, the reality is that, for all their majestic power and for all their strength, they balance ever so delicately on the edge of survival. In Australia, our laws and practices continue to conflict with each other. We need to protect sharks in every aspect, not just where and when it's convenient. We need to learn to share the seas.